Hi, I'd like to show you some new evidence I uncovered exploring the Bitcoinica hack from July 12th, 2012. Here's a transaction where the 40,000 Bitcoin were stolen. Bitcoinica kept their wallet on MtGox, so you can see that the 40,000 was sent out from MtGox, and the left box is the theft coin. Let me turn off clustering so you can see the full transaction with inputs and outputs. This is July 12th, so let's follow what happened right after. The first thing was 1 Bitcoin was sent out from the theft address. Then following that, the 1 Bitcoin was combined with some others and sent here. Stepping forwards again, it was sent here. This is interesting because it was used multiple times following the theft. In the 2 days after, it was used 82 times. These addresses were all used for the first time following the theft. Let's follow the path some more. Up to here, it was within 24 hours of the hack. And here it was the 29th, over 2 weeks later. This transaction was sent, that sends out 10,000, probably is the thief, as the inputs are all from a day or two following the theft. Now this next transaction that follows right after the 10,000 transaction is most interesting because we know that it is Zhou Tong sending 15,000 Bitcoin to Patrick Merck. We know this because Zhou Tong said it himself on Bitcoin Talk. Zhou Tong said on the 29th that he had found the hacker that day, and on the same day he had managed to negotiate the return of some of the Bitcoin. So we know that this is Zhou Tong. Let's try to guess who's responsible for the previous transaction or who controls the input addresses that were created right after the theft on the 12th. So one of the input addresses was involved in multiple transactions following the theft. Let's dig into a few of them. Here's one for 9,000 something Bitcoin. There are 2 outputs. One goes to an input address of the 10,000 transaction. The other output goes to MtGox, and it goes to the account that correlates with user 5125, which is Zhou Tong's. So that's one new piece of evidence. Let's follow another path out of this address. This one is for around 2,700. Also, one of the outputs goes to the 10,000 transaction. The other one, if we follow it one step further, goes to a Zhou Tong address. We know this because it was used as an input to the next transaction where Zhou Tong said on Bitcoin Talk that he had created this transaction. Also, if we look at the output, at the other input to this transaction, the one for 4,101, if we go backwards in time, we see that it came from 2 inputs. The first one comes from a donation address that belongs to Zhou Tong, one that he posted on Bitcoin Talk. The second one comes from the MtGox account that had previously received the 9,000 Bitcoin, also pointing towards Zhou Tong. That's another piece of evidence. So if you explore the graph more, you'll see more interesting bits. For example, we haven't explored the path of the big chunk of Bitcoin here. If you expand it out one transaction, you'll see that it goes to one of the input addresses of the 10,000 transaction. There's more to explore in this graph, and I've included the URL to the graph for you to check out. See what you can find and have fun.